Welcome to the Athletes in Motion podcast, from race to recovery, with your hosts, Tom Regal and Kenny Bailey.
Tom, how are you?
I'm great. Kenny, how are you doing today?
I am doing fantastic.
Outstanding. So here we are.
Here we are.
This is it. Maybe we should tell people who we are.
Okay.
I mean, we know who we are.
Yeah.
But
do we?
know?
Do you really?
Not really.
All right.
Anyway.
Hey, I'm Kenny Bailey. I am the owner of the Recovery Lounge. We started here at the Recovery Lounge because I was a athlete, endurance athlete, doing triathlons, cycling, and all that good stuff. And I wanted a place to recover that wasn't next to a PT shop. I wanted a place that I could come afterwards, chill out, get what I need, and be able to just kind of hang out with my friends and be able to say, So I couldn't find a place, so I built a place. And,
there you go.
As a guy that's been building businesses for 20 years in healthcare, I figured instead of complaining about it, let's do something about it. So we built the Recovery Lounge, and we're a year into this thing, and we're pretty excited that we've got a whole mix of people coming in, from 80-year-old people that just looking to better walking to elite athletes. So pretty excited. You, Tom?
Great. Hey, I'm Tom Regal. I'm the owner of TriTomR Endurance. I'm a bike fitter and endurance coach, certified with USA Triathlon and USA Masters Swimming. I've been active in the endurance world as an athlete and coach for 15 plus years. I did the whole executive lifestyle as well as doing this and keeping both of them going together, but really have pushed off on the coaching side of it. And I've been really enjoyed working with a lot of great athletes and doing all the bike fitting as well. Recovery is extremely important to me, which is why this partnership worked out really well, because I've always tried to find a place that could help me recover.
Well, glad
and
we built it.
the more busy I was and the more crazy I was, the more I needed the recovery, and I just couldn't find the right spot. And I'm super, super excited to be here. And I use the Recovery Lounge all the time. It's one of my favorite places. So we have to talk about the mental aspect of it at one point too.
Yeah.
So that's huge. So, Athletes in Motion. That's our podcast name. So what's an athlete?
Yeah, I think that's a great question. I think there's a stigma out there that you have to have a bib number, or you have to be, quote unquote, have a training plan or be a professional in order to be an athlete.
Yes. And that's not the case.
It's not the case. We see people in here all the time that are, if they accomplish the 500 steps they needed for the day, because that's their goal. If they want to do a couch to 5K, they're an athlete.
Exactly. And that's the thing I find most athletes resist that title. For some reason, there's a stigma to it, whether it's they don't feel worthy of that title. We're not doing enough. I'm not getting paid. Well, I'm not doing the ultras, so I'm not an athlete. And I know ultra athletes that don't consider themselves athletes, which is hilarious. It's kind of funny. But
so, and that's why it's Athletes in Motion. And what we meant from the race to recovery is just to make sure that you understand that there's two pieces to this thing. There's the active portion of what you're doing, and then there's the recovery portion, which is in my humble opinion, just as important.
It's equally as important.
And
there's more scientific data to prove that now, instead of just pushing through. That recovery portion helps you grow. So that's huge. So
what are you trying to get out of this thing?
I don't know. We're trying to figure out how to get active. How do you start?
Yeah.
I mean, that's one of the things we want to cover and we want to talk with people on, is how do you get started? How do you get off the couch and start taking that long walk around the block?
Yeah.
And then, moving on that. This is the one of the hardest parts, right?
Yeah.
How do you do that?
Yeah. And the other thing that I think is kind of cool is we have a couple of guests coming on talking about how they are already active and are an athlete in their own field and comfortable in their own field, and decided to take a step out of that and get out of their comfort zone and try a new sport, try a new way to challenge themselves. So there's a lot of folks out there that consistently, they'll go to the gym 5 days a week and that's all they'll do, or they'll just run 5 days a week, or they'll walk. And how can you incorporate other endeavors into your program? How can you try other things and not feel too uncomfortable about doing that? How can we teach folks about about just getting started. Just like it's just hard to start getting off your couch. It's hard to start a new sport where you feel comfortable and confident in the one you're doing, and all of a sudden you're brand new in this new thing. You don't know what you're doing. You're all over the place. So we have guests coming on that'll help talk us through sort of how they went from one phase to another.
All those steps. I mean, that the only way we grow as human beings, as people, is to challenge ourselves.
Yeah.
There's got to be some stressors. There has to be something that happens that gets us to grow and push outside of that. And you have to push that comfort zone. That comfort zone doesn't have to be pushed very far, but it needs to be pushed a little bit. So how do we get through that? What's the mental aspect that we take on that? How do we get through that? That's certainly, we've got some great guests that are going to talk about switching sports, getting off the couch, all of that stuff. That's getting everyone in there.
Yeah, the greatest saying I've ever heard is get comfortable with being uncomfortable.
Exactly.
Right? And I think that's a good way to challenge yourself.
So, and then how do you, now you're moving, now you're getting along, how do you incorporate recovery into that portion of it? I mean,
something that's near and dear to my heart. And I think what we see is a lot of people come in like, I'm already sore or I've already got an issue. And it's great that you're coming in. We want to see you sooner because recovery needs to be part of the process. You shouldn't wait until you have a crappy workout or a crappy run or whatever, because we want to try to prevent those by incorporating recovery so you have a better workout the next time and that you are reducing that risk of injury. The last thing you want is, hey, I've decided to put a goal in front of myself and 3 weeks into the goal, you find out you're injured because you were tight and your body's trying to do something different.
Yeah. Don't wait until you're in pain to recover, quote unquote. Recover, because recovery is part of this process. It's not a painful thing. You should. It helps you avoid injury. It helps you avoid any of that painful process of it. It helps.
Yeah, and Tom, I think there's another aspect that sometimes that we see here that we don't talk about is that mental kind of recovery as well. That if you're just starting on a new endeavor, let's say it is a couch to 5K, or you're doing a new sport and you're using muscles that you haven't used before, you're going to get frustrated if you try to do it again and like, oh, I'm sore and I don't want to get up. This hurts. Mm-hmm. How can we reduce that so that you feel better going into that? The mental aspect is really important. Detuning once in a while on the mental aspect as well as the physical aspect is huge.
And listening to other people that have gone through it already.
Exactly.
Part of the environment with the challenge with COVID has been that we haven't been able to get together in groups to actually do that part of it. That's the mental aspect of recovering. So that's what I like about the Recovery Lounge is that the fact that you can get in a group, there's other people here that are recovering and you can just chit chat and, kind of talk about what you're going through. That's what we're hoping to bring people on that can walk you through some of that mental aspect. That what did they face? It's the exact same thing you're going through. Exactly. How did they deal with it? Let's walk through that.
And then I think, if we do one thing on this podcast is if we can help somebody convert that to a lifestyle where they do say, look, I am an athlete. I am a person that's active. I've decided I'm going to make this as just part of my lifestyle. If we could do that to me is a pretty big goal.
Absolutely, yes. And we want to have some fun doing it. So.
Oh yeah, that too.
Yeah, I know.
So.
We always try to have fun. We probably have too much fun.
Absolutely.
But that's certainly what we're working towards. So.
Yeah, I think any suggestions, any feedback that anybody has on topics that you want us to cover, on guests you want us to cover, if you want to be a guest on our program, make sure to let us know. We'll certainly put you on the list and see what we can do.
Yeah, we'll have a link in the show notes. This is our first kind of teaser episode that we're kind of working through just so you get to know us and what we're trying to do with this podcast. We'll be dropping these every so often, as much as we can. It won't be every week because that's probably too much for both of us to handle, to be honest with you.
Yep.
It'll affect my training. I'm sorry.
Yes, exactly.
And I'd hate to cut out my recovery because that's not going to happen either. So we'll be dropping. So subscribe on so that you'll get notifications every time we drop one of these things every other week or every couple of weeks. We've got some really good people lined up.
Excited.
I think it's going to bring a different. There's a lot of podcasts out there, but I think we'll bring something a little bit different, our little niche to it.
Absolutely.
So we've got all sports covered.
Yep.
Which is what it's
See you on the next one, Tom.
Yep. Well, have a great day.